How much do you know about the human body? See if you can answer these questions on facts about the human body. Everyone probably should know. Don't worry too much if you make a few mistakes, because by the end of the quiz, you'll know all these facts. So, let's begin. Which blood cells carry oxygen through the body? Red blood cells, platelets, or white blood cells? The answer is red blood cells. What is the clear layer of skin at the base of the fingernail called? Is it cuticle, follicule, or lunula? The answer is cuticle. How many permanent teeth does a typical adult have? 36, 32, or 28? The answer is 32. Which is the primary organ to filter extra water and salts from the body? The stomach, spleen, or kidneys? That is the kidneys. Which acid makes up the majority of gastric acid? Is it nitric, acetic, or hydrochloric acid? It is hydrochloric. What is the main role of stem cells in the body? They create new cells, they break down toxins, or they store fat. The answer is they create new cells. What gives hair, skin and eyes their natural colour? Is it collagen, melanin, or keratin? The answer is melanin. Roughly how many litres of blood does an average adult have? 15, 10 or 5? The answer is 5. Which organ regulates blood sugar levels? The kidneys, heart or pancreas? That would be the pancreas. What type of cells defend the body against infections? The red blood cells, white blood cells, or nerve cells? That is white blood cells. What is the longest bone in the human body called? Is it the femur, the spine, or the ulna? It is the femur. What sense does the olfactory nerve primarily control? Your options are sight, smell, or touch. The correct choice there is smell. What is the scientific name for the voice box? Epiglottis, pharynx, or larynx? It is the larynx. What is the largest organ of the human body? The lungs, liver, or skin? Of all the organs, the largest is the skin. What is the fat stored around your organs called? Is it essential, visceral, or subcutaneous? The correct one there is visceral. Which hormone stimulates hunger and increases food intake? Is that oxytocin, ghrelin, or cortisol? The answer there is ghrelin. What is the name of the largest artery in the body? Coronary, pulmonary, or aorta? The answer is the aorta. How many chambers does the human heart contain? Are there 6, 4, or 2? There are 4. Which grows the fastest? Fingernails, toenails, or hair? The fastest is hair. What is the small structure that hangs at the back of the throat called? The glabella, epiglottis, or uvula? It is the uvula. In which stage of sleep does vivid dreaming occur? Deep sleep, REM sleep, or light sleep? That's in REM sleep. What is the name for the tiny air sacs in our lungs where gas exchange occurs? Is it bronchioles, venules, or alveoli? The correct answer is alveoli. What time of the day are people usually their tallest? In the evening, afternoon, or morning? And usually it would be in the morning. Which protein makes up most of human hair and nails? Elastin, keratin, or collagen? The answer, keratin. What is the outermost layer of skin that forms a protective barrier called? The epidermis, dermis, or hypodermis? It is the epidermis. Which organ in the human body consumes the most energy? Is it the brain, liver, or heart? It is the brain. Which organ acts as a storage unit for glucose? The kidneys, liver, or pancreas? That would be the liver. Which substance is primarily absorbed in the large intestine? Fibre, water, or protein? The answer there is water. Which organ's main function is to clean the blood of toxins and transform waste into urine? The kidneys, gallbladder, or bladder? The correct answer is the kidneys. What is the hardest substance in the human body? Your options are dentin, bone, or enamel. And unless you've accidentally swallowed a diamond, the correct answer is enamel. How many pairs of chromosomes do most humans have? 206, 23, or 14? Most have 23. So of the 23 pairs of human chromosomes, how many differ between males and females? None, 5 pairs, or 1 pair? The answer, 1 pair differ. What is the usual site of fertilization in the female reproductive system? The fallopian tubes, ovaries, or uterus? The answer is the fallopian tubes. Roughly what percentage of the human body is made up of water? 40, 90, or 60? It's approximately 60%. Which parent's chromosome determines the gender of the baby? Is it either the father's or the mother's? The answer is the father's. At what rate does fat turn into muscle with intense daily exercise? 0 pounds, 1 pound, or 5 pounds a month? Fat cannot turn into muscle, so the answer is 0. Do we really only use 10% of our brain? What do you think? No or yes? Actually, we use most of it most of the time, so that's not true. Circadian rhythm primarily regulates which process? Muscle growth, blood clotting, or the sleep-wake cycle? That regulates the sleep-wake cycle. How many ribs do most people have? 24, 22, or 20? And typically we have 24. What is the clinical term for the belly button? Umbilicus, canthus, or pylorus? The answer, umbilicus. When during each day are your feet likely to be the largest? In the evening, afternoon, or morning? They would be typically largest in the evening. Which is the heaviest human organ? The liver, the brain, or the skin? That again is the skin. Where are the adrenal glands located? Are they in the neck, behind the lungs, or on the kidneys? They are on the kidneys. A clot blocking an artery or vein is called what? Contusion, thrombus, or aneurysm? That is a thrombus. What connects arteries to veins? Is that ligaments, tendons, or capillaries? That is capillaries. Which type of blood vessel carries blood away from the heart? Is that an artery, a vein, or a capillary? That is an artery. Approximately what percentage of exhaled air is carbon dioxide? 94%, 54%, or 4%? The answer, just 4%. What is high blood pressure also known as? Tachycardia, arrhythmia, or hypertension? That is hypertension. What is the primary function of the lymphatic system? Maintain fluid balance and immune function, transport hormones to cells, or regulate body fat? The answer, maintain fluid balance and immune function. Which muscle works in opposition to the biceps? The pectoralis major, the triceps, or deltoid? Your correct choice there is triceps. Which organ is nearly 60% fat? The pancreas, brain, or liver? The answer, the brain. What is the largest and longest nerve in the body? The ulnar, median, or sciatic? The longest is the sciatic nerve. Which muscle is the largest in the human body? Latissimus dorsi, gluteus maximus, or quadriceps? The answer is gluteus maximus. What are the small bones in the fingers and toes called? Phalanges, carpals, or tarsals? They are phalanges. Which tissue connects muscle to bone? Is that cartilage, ligaments, or tendons? That is tendons. The fibrous joints where skull bones meet are called what? Sutures, cartilage, or ligaments? They are sutures. Which gases are exchanged in the body during breathing? Oxygen and carbon monoxide, oxygen and carbon dioxide, or oxygen and nitrogen? The correct pair there, oxygen and carbon dioxide. Which muscle is mainly responsible for lung inflation? The trapezius, pectoralis major, or diaphragm? That would be the diaphragm. Which part of the brain is the primary visual processing lobe? Occipital, frontal, or temporal lobe? The correct one there, occipital lobe. Small round bones embedded in tendons are called what? Carpals, tarsals or sesamoids? They are sesamoids. Which gland produces human growth hormone? The adrenal, pituitary or thyroid? The answer is the pituitary. Which system in the human body transports nutrients and oxygen to your cells? The cardiovascular, endocrine or digestive system? That's the role of the cardiovascular system. All human embryos initially develop along which sexual pathway by default, male or female? The answer is female. What is the average adult female and male lung capacity? 10 and 15 litres, 4 and 6 litres or 1 and 2 litres? It is 4 and 6 litres. Which of these is not a function of the spleen? Supporting immunity, filtering blood or producing bile? The answer, it doesn't produce bile. What is the function of the pancreas in the digestive system? It secretes digestive enzymes, waste elimination, or stores bile. The correct choice there, it secretes digestive enzymes. What term describes the collection of microorganisms residing in the digestive system? Pathogens, gut microbiome, or probiotics? That is, gut microbiome. Which of these is not part of a normal healthy gut microbiome? Fungi, bacteria or parasites? The answer, parasites. How many bones make up an adult human skeleton? 206, 192 or 178? There are typically 206. The smallest bone in the body is located in which area? The nose, thumb or ear? That's found in the ear. Which organ balances the levels of sodium and potassium in the body? The pancreas, liver or kidneys? That's the role of the kidneys. What happens to the colour of urine when dehydrated? It gets darker, it gets lighter, or nothing? The answer is, it gets darker. What is the monthly release of an egg from the ovary called? Is that implantation, ovulation, or menstruation? That is ovulation. Which organ is where the developing fetus grows during pregnancy? In the placenta, uterus, or cervix? The answer is the uterus. Where in the body is the appendix located? Lower right, upper left, or lower left abdomen? And unless you've had it removed, it's in the lower right abdomen. What does the sinoatrial node regulate? Blood calcium, vitamin levels, or the heart rate? It regulates the heart rate. What nerve tissue transmits light signals from your eye lens to the optic nerve? The retina, cornea, or iris? That is the retina. What is the primary hormone that regulates sleep-wake cycles? Glucagon, melatonin, or progesterone? The answer, melatonin. What is the hard layer of a tooth beneath the enamel called? Amalgam, pulp, or dentin? That is dentin. What is the clear fluid that drains from tissues called? Plasma, saliva, or lymph? That is lymph. Which organ produces bile? The gallbladder, pancreas, or liver? And bile is produced in the liver. What is the longest type of cell in the body? Is it a neuron, a fat cell, or an egg? The answer, a neuron. The average normal body temperature is usually stated as which? 40, 37, or 34 degrees Celsius? The answer, 37 degrees Celsius. Roughly what percentage of the body's oxygen is consumed by the brain? 60, 40, or 20%? The correct choice there, 20%. Who would normally have the most heartbeats per minute? A 70-year-old, 35-year-old, or a newborn baby? Typically, it would be the newborn baby. Hepatic refers to which organ? The liver, heart, or brain? That refers to the liver. Which of your lungs is usually slightly smaller than the other? Your right or your left? To make room for your heart, the answer is your left lung. When we get embarrassed and blush, which of these also blushes? Your lungs, heart lining, or stomach lining? The answer is the stomach lining. Which gland produces the hormone insulin? The pituitary, pancreas, or thyroid? That's produced in the pancreas. Which joint type provides the widest range of movement? Pivot, ball and socket, or hinge? The answer, ball and socket. Which has the thickest skin? Feet, elbows, or knees? The thickest skin is on your feet. Which blood type is the most common worldwide? B negative, O positive, or AB positive? The most common, O positive. What is the name of the sac around the heart? The peritoneum, pericardium, or pleura? The answer is pericardium. Where in the body is the hippocampus located? In the brain, in the stomach, or in the groin? That is in the brain. Which type of muscle is under voluntary control? Smooth, cardiac, or skeletal? The answer, skeletal muscle. What is the partition that separates the left and right sides of the nose? The nasal maxilla, philtrum, or septum? That is the nasal septum. What is another name for a fertilized egg? Is that a neuron, an ovum, or a zygote? That is a zygote. Which part of the brain is primarily responsible for coordinating movement, balance, and posture? The brainstem, cerebellum, or thalamus? That is the cerebellum. What is the process of clearing out and recycling damaged cell components called? Excretion, respiration, or autophagy? That is, autophagy. Which of these body parts is not composed of over 70% water? Muscles, brain, or bones? At around 20 to 30% of water, the bones. One final thing for you to think about, we have kneecaps, so why don't we have elbow caps? If you enjoy these quizzes and you would like to play more human body quizzes, there's a playlist for you here. If you'd like to just broaden your general knowledge, then I recommend starting with these quizzes. Thanks for watching, give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on a future quiz.